Dennis Pierce with Keller Williams Realty and Park Bench, and we're here at Farmer Frog in Woodinville, where I'm meeting with George Ahearn, with Nancy Balin, and with Zsofia Pasztor of Farmer Frog. And they've actually started a whole new venture here in just the last few months, feeding local families with rescued food from the other side of the mountains. They've created an entire organization basically from scratch that didn't exist when this year started. And I've asked them to give us a little bit of the story as to how that happened and what they're doing now and what their needs are, so that maybe you can help out. So I'm going to actually let them take over and tell us that story.
My name is George Ahearn, and I am here with my other two co-founders of the East-West Food Rescue, Zsofia Pasztor behind me and Nancy Balin to my left. In 12 weeks, we've been able to move 3 million pounds of produce. This has been our response to the COVID-19 calamity. So April 27th, I was reading a news article in my local paper that crops in and around my hometown of Othello, Washington were being destroyed. And at the same time, I had friends who were losing their business and neighbors who were losing their jobs. And I was just upset that the COVID-19 pandemic created a scenario of disruption for not just employment, but for food security for our state and our country. And I put out a request to borrow a truck and was looking for 2,000 pounds of food. And little did I know that 12 weeks later, we rescued 3 million pounds of food, much in part thanks to the generosity of farmers, hardworking farmers in Eastern Washington who have helped to feed over 800,000 people in Western Washington and throughout the state, as well as Oregon and Montana.
So I saw, George reached out on Facebook, and I saw the request, and the headline of the request was "Wasted Food!" with exclamation points. And that caught my attention. And I saw that George and I didn't know him at that point, but I saw that we had mutual friends in the local Chamber of Commerce, so I knew that he was someone that I could trust whatever he had posted. And he said he was looking for a truck. And I have a friend who has a very large Ford F-350 and a 32-foot horse trailer, and I knew that I'd be able to use them. I reached out to my Rotary colleagues and I said, we're going to be having a bunch of potatoes coming in tomorrow, and they're going to this farm in Woodinville. Can we rustle up some people to help because they're going to get dumped into huge mountains of potatoes out of these trucks, and can we have people help with bagging them, because we could not distribute them until they were bagged.
We had people bagging potatoes into sizes that people could get.
Got out that we have food to share. A lot of neighbors were talking about it. All of a sudden, we had people show up who took it up on themselves to drive for hours and hours, picking up food here and then driving hours and hours to take it back to their communities, so that the places where food banks maybe are unable to support the community, or people are not able to get to a food bank, can also have access to food.
One of the things I wanted to highlight was that there are many, many aspects to the story. The food insecurity brought on by COVID-19, restaurants shutting down, contracts to farmers being canceled, farmers wanting to plant 40% less crops next year, which is only going to mean that food prices are going to soar when things do come back around.
We have a core group of about 24 volunteers who spend an average of 25 to 30 hours a week with the operation. We also have about another 8 to 10 individuals who do more than full-time, 60 plus hours a week working on this project. And then we have, I think our last count was somewhere over 1,200 people who, as Nancy mentioned, do either just a few hours a week or regularly, or came once or twice to help out. So when a semi-load arrives, within just a matter of hours, the food that we unload actually reaches a plate. We are serving currently over 210 community organizations and food banks, and this number keeps going up. We're getting new calls every single day. So as of August 7th, which was last Friday, that afternoon, we moved over 3.5 million pounds of food. We are serving over 800,000 individuals. It's almost 200,000 households in the area. We sent food from Portland to Blackfeet, Montana, up to Bellingham, and out to Nia Bay. And of course, the main counties and cities in Puget Sound are all covered. We are working hard to help farmers stay on their farms, because there is only a one-way road out of a farm. People leave a farm, they don't go back, and we cannot eat if we don't have farmers. It's so critical that we keep our farmers on the farm and have them, enable them to keep growing food. We have some very specific immediate needs. Refrigeration assistance is a big deal. It's not just for the warm temperatures, but also when the weather gets cold, it helps us stabilize temperature of certain products. We are not looking at storing food for weeks at a time, but even for a few hours or a couple of days, we have to maintain temperature on certain products that require specific storage. So we have a barn that we'd like to retrofit into a walk-in cooler, and we would need refrigerated trailers that run on diesel. We would need 53-footers and several of them here at the site. We are operating in the outdoors with no warehouse, which is actually one of the requirements right now for the USDA support project, that food does not get stored in a warehouse, but it is a truck-to-trunk model, which is our model. People feel more comfortable when they are outside and not in an enclosed building with recirculating air and others, strangers coming up close to them. So our outdoor setup is a very important and purposeful selection for what we do, and we do it by choice. We need 2 terrain-equipped forklifts that have expandable forks and wheels, preferably skid steers but not track. And we also are looking for an electric pallet jack for our crew to move pallets around within semi-trucks, which we received a lot of. Last week we moved 12 semi-trucks. We also need a lot of money. We need money to buy food from the farmers at cost. Without paying for that food on the long run, we are not going to help our farmers. So while we really appreciate everything that we receive as a donation, and we really, really need those things, we also need money to pay for food. I'd like to see at least $500,000 that will be in our hands to spend on food, and that does not include our refrigeration needs and other items I listed.
We are at about $90,000. But what we know very well is that relying on donations is not a sustainable way for us to stick around. And as Zsofia said, we're not going anywhere. The normal goal of a nonprofit is to go out of business because the need that they have fulfilled is gone. And we all agree with Zsofia that this crisis is not ending anytime soon. And so East West Food Rescue needs to be able to rely not just on the generosity of individuals and some family foundations, but we need corporate sponsorship, a national sponsor, we need trucking sponsors, we need companies, corporate America, and private companies to back us so that we are here for the long haul.
You can contact us by going to eastwestfoodrescue.org or call us at 206-550-9570. We very much appreciate your help and support. Just minutes of volunteering, many hands has made 3.5 million pounds light. We've all done it together, working hard together, contributing whatever aspect we can contribute, and together we will get through this crisis.